Guys, get ready to rock and roll. Do me a big solid. Let's stand up. Let's get some blood flowing. Big round of applause for the man, Keith.
What's up, my people? Mic check, check, check. Good morning. What's going on? First of all, today happens to be Veterans Day, so I want to take off my hat and honor and thank the veterans for those who have served, active duty service members, and I just want to say without them, we wouldn't be here right now for all of their sacrifices, so I just want to say thank you. And if there's anybody in the room, thank you. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. All right. I want to talk about knowing your worth and leveling up your landscaping business. Because I had been in my landscaping business for 3 years already, and I didn't have any coaches or any mentors, and I was still doing stupid stuff for customers because I didn't even know what services to offer. I was offering too many services, my prices were too low, and I had a wife that supported me, yet I wasn't bringing home the money, and I was frustrated. Too close? All right, I'll pull it away a little. So, has anybody heard my other story called Know Your Worth, where I talked about this rich client that I had? Yeah. I like talking about that client because he's like the pinnacle of these type of clients who, they've got a lot of disposable income, and they can kind of play with you if you don't know what you're worth, right? This client, we do landscaping and window cleaning. I can't say the client's name, but I knew that he had rugs, because I'm continuing this story. It's going to be good. We're going to talk about how to level up. He had rugs in his house worth like $50,000 to $80,000 per individual rug. So when we're doing the landscaping and window cleaning on a separate day, if I even walked with the shoe-covered booties on my feet and my foot touched one of the little tiny fibers, the little ropes coming off the rug, I'd stop and I would bend down and I would fix that and uncross those two little ropes coming off that rug. And so like everything in this dude's house was crazy exotic stuff from imported all over the world. One night I came home after working all day Sunday, cleaning his windows and climbing up and down ladders for way too cheap, like way too cheap. And I'm eating dinner with my wife, and I get a text message from him, and he's like, there's little droplets of water on my beautiful, like, I think they were like $200,000 hardwood floors. I go, oh shoot, because my squeegee was dripping water, right? We had done everything perfect except for that. You know what I said? Right in the middle of eating dinner with my wife, I was like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. It's actually like 45 minutes away. I drove all the way out there and Swiffered all the guys' floors, and I'm like, what am I doing? I made it perfect, text him a thumbs up, you're all good. So the next time we're working on his property, we trimmed all the bushes, the shrubs, we put down mulch, made everything perfect. It's Saturday night, 7 p.m. And this was, by the way, this dude's mansion was his weekend house. And he's coming home, and he texts me, he's like in his BMW. I can't even believe that I put up with this crap. He's like, I'm coming home and I'm going to throw a party, but it's getting too cold out. Can you please move my patio furniture from my patio and put it into the garage? I was like, okay, why, right, God, can I do it next week? I gotta go, like my wife's making spaghetti dinner. He's like, well, I need it done now because my buddies are coming over, we're gonna smoke cigars and watch the game. I was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna make some money on this. I tell my workers, we don't even have workers comp for this stuff, we gotta move the patio furniture into the guy's garage, it's gonna be quick. The patio furniture is $24,000 set of patio furniture up on a 2-story balcony that you can't even get to it unless you cross a bridge outside of his house, or you gotta climb a ladder. I'm like, how are we gonna move this patio furniture? I already agreed to do it. Bro, we had to take this patio furniture and climb on the roof, and literally my guys are handing it to me, and we're carrying patio furniture across the roof of this mansion and gently putting it down to not break anything, and with a wicker rug. And I was so frustrated. My wife was calling me. I'm like, oh, we're moving the client's patio furniture. But I did it perfect, bro. We got the wicker rug set up. We got all the furniture set up. He had his what was it? Like it was a Ferrari and then a Bentley next to some other exotic car. And then all of a sudden a van showed up out of the blue, and these tech guys brought out, like back in the day, like a few years ago, it was like an 80-inch LCD TV. Could be like the brand new plasma ones are like 10 grand. Dude, they just start installing this TV on the wall in the garage. And this is like a beautiful garage, right? And I'm like, well, what's going on? And then these fancy cars start pulling up, and these guys start getting out, and they're cutting these cigars. These these cigars are Cuban cigars. They're like $80 a piece or something. I don't know. I don't smoke cigars. And as they're smoking cigars, the client pulls up, and he didn't even look at me. He didn't even care. And I was like exhausted. Now it's like, like 8 o'clock at night. Sun's going down. It's fall time. My guys left. I'm like, dude, I would never even do this today. If I did do something like that, I'd probably charge someone like, I don't know, $1,500 for an hour and a half of that crap. I was like, dude, it's got to be at least $150. This dude always carried a stack of like 20 grand on him, just like some petty cash. I was like, dude, I need like $150. He's like ignoring me, on top of the invoice, everything we did that day. And he pulls out $50 and he hands it to me, and he's like, here you go, take it and go. I go, no, dude, it's like $150. He goes, no, just take the 50. I'm like, dude, it's like $150. And he was like, just take the $50. So I took the $50, I put it in my pocket, and I got in my piece of crap Blue Goose truck with rust all over it and 300,000 miles. And now I'm driving home with tears dripping down my face, frustrated, feeling worthless and not knowing my worth. And I drive all the way home ashamed of myself because I let this client take advantage of me. This is the guy with the $186,000 exclusive watch, right? So I get home, our tiny little one-bedroom apartment, and I smell like something beautiful in the air, and there's steam, and my wife, she waited for me. She's cooking spaghetti dinner. She's got the table set, and my wife's a clean freak. She's meticulous. I hide that from her. I don't tell her what just happened. I'm frustrated. I sit down at the table with my wife, and I'm sitting there eating the most delicious spaghetti dinner ever. And we're 30 days behind on the rent. I'm looking at my wife with so much gratitude that I could cry. You know who the rich man that day was? It was me. I was the rich man that day. And I knew that I didn't want to let my wife down, and I needed to level up my landscaping business. So I went and I looked in the mirror. I said, I've had enough of this. I woke up the next morning. You know that thing where you just look in the mirror? It's like, bro, you got this. I was scared to take on these landscape jobs that I didn't know how to do. Like, my buddy Eric Reno has a roofing business. They're doing like $50,000 and $100,000 roofs. And one day, I was like, how come I'm not making much money? I'm only making like a 28% profit margin. He's like, bro, I make the same profit margin as you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And how do you have so much money, more money than me? He's like, because my average ticket job is 20, 30, 50, 100,000 bucks. I just have a higher ticket. So 28, 30% of a higher ticket job, it goes right to the bottom line. It's more profit. I was the $99 guy. So I was like, that's it. My new minimum is $200, $300. I set a minimum of $312.50. I got committed, and I went to Five Below. They got all these sketch pads and pencils and paper, and I literally sat down over the weekend and over the winter, and I got a calculator, and I said, I need to mathematically, logically figure out a reason how to run my business so it doesn't depend on my emotion. I got to put some structure in here. This is the only way it's going to level up the business. So I like to try this sometime. I like to draw graphs and charts, and I'll draw like a big pyramid, and I'll like draw concentric circles, and I'll do a bunch of math, and I'm trying to find a way to emotionally get over the hump to say, wait a second, this just logically makes sense. This is a structure beyond the way that I feel. This is a structure that even if I don't know my worth, this would still work. But I still didn't get it yet. Here's why. I went to all these new customers, well, the existing customers, and I started raising the prices drastically, right? I started losing my clients, and they were dropping like flies. Across the street from the rich client was another mansion with a rich family. Bro, we would show up and trim all the bushes, edge out the garden beds, and put down, I think, what was it? This was 12 yards of mulch for like $1,500. And the client would be like, yo, I'll give you $1,000 cash. That's all I can afford. And at the time, I was like, I got to take this money. I need this money. So I would take the $1,000 and then do it. So when I raised the price to like $1,500, the guy's like, well, what do you mean? Last year you would charge $1,000. I'm like, well, bro, things are leveling up now. Like, I got to run a legitimate business. Like, my truck broke down, and the trucks kept breaking down. You ever like save up just enough money to get another truck, and you're gripping that steering wheel like, if this truck breaks down, I'm screwed. Client didn't even care. He's like, I'll give you $1,100. So I did it again. But why did I do it? Because I didn't have any structure in the business. I didn't have a defined service area, right? Where you draw like a circle on a map and say, this is where we work, this is where we don't work. Can you afford to make those decisions? We have a 6-mile radius now. I didn't have, number 2, a service suite, which is my suite of services that I offer. You can do like landscaping, window cleaning, power washing, you can pull weeds, you can do gutter systems and sprinklers and French drains. I remember I saw a company when I first got started and they had like 25 services listed. I'm like, they must be doing pretty good. No. So because I was doing all those things, that I was a jack of all trades for all those clients, when I started narrowing my service area and developing my service suite, which is specifically what we do, these key services we offer, or drastically raising the price on stuff I hate doing. I definitely wasn't going to be carrying no furniture on people's roofs anymore. But I was like, no, I'm not doing that stuff anymore. I'm done with that. My business imploded. I was losing clients left and right, and I couldn't believe my business was taking off, because when you're pedaling full speed in first gear, maybe second gear, you feel like you're getting a lot done, and you got all this little money coming in from all these different places. But now it's time to focus on the bigger chunks. So you expand the top as you dissolve the bottom. You dissolve the bottom as you expand the top. I learned that from Coach Rob. If you watch my videos, he's a very wise mentor in my life. So number 3 was, with this service suite and the defined service area, I learned how to turn landscaping problems into profits with upsells and add-ons. So I started marketing deep down inside of the neighborhoods that I wanted to work in. But it wasn't working. It wasn't getting the clients fast enough. So the business is imploding. I come home again. We're 30 days behind on the rent. And I'm like 2 years into my business. I'm like, how the hell is this happening? And we had already passed 100K. Was making no profit. There's something that comes over you, and it's called the hero's journey. It's the point of no return. When you finally make a decision that you're doing this no matter what, or you're going to die trying. I woke up again the next morning, and I looked at my eyes in the mirror. I was like, this is done. I don't care if I'm afraid to do these bigger jobs. I'm going to figure them out. My back's against the wall. I got a wife now. This is getting real. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. We went to a subdivision called Windermere Woods, and it was local to my house. We got on their Facebook community page, like the neighborhood, and all of a sudden, all these customers started walking up wanting a quote for landscaping. My employees are working, and bro, this thing that changed inside of me, I was done. Like, I had to have that conversation, like, I'm not throwing in the towel on my business. I released a video on my YouTube channel, Keith Kalfas, called Don't Throw in the Towel. Like, you gotta watch this video. I looked in the mirror and I said, you don't deserve to throw in the towel. Bro, I walked up and I started selling $7,000 jobs, $8,000 jobs, $10,000 jobs. A client called me, I sold a $19,000 job like on the spot in 20 minutes with a signature and a deposit right there. My confidence had been renewed because I had leveled up my life and my business. The customer calls, he's like, we got all this, we got some landscaping, we need some rocks, we need some of this, we need some of this. I showed up, I was there Monday. We do Monday quotes. And as I'm walking around the property with this customer, the $19,000 job, I'm like, he's like, well, I want all this done in the garden bed. And I'm like, stop. All right, do you want it like this or like this? So we have 17 different types of decorative stone. We have 3 different types of edging. We got black edging, aluminum edging. We got black diamond plastic edging. And so I was creating a checklist on the spot. And once we walked around the whole property, the customer's like, when can you get this done? I'm like, well, I got to give you a price first. He's like, now normally this is something I would charge like $8,000 for. I was like, you're looking at $17,500. We can start it all in 2 weeks. We'll be here with a 3-man crew. This is going to take 5 days. Well, actually, it's going to take 4 days, but I was booking a 5th day for cleanup, for rain, for stuff like that, to make sure your property is meticulous. We're going to do this on day 1. We're going to bring in the materials here. Like day 1, we're going to do demo. Day 2, we're going to bring in the materials. Day 3. And I basically laid out the plan for the customer with total confidence, with my back against the wall, because now I had no choice but to be confident. Like I was forced into knowing my worth. And that confidence conveyed into the customer. He was like, all right, to make sure you're here in 2 weeks, if I pay you an extra $1,500 on top of it, I'm like, sold, let's do it. I went in my truck, went on the software, and I typed it all up, got a digital signature and a deposit right on the spot, and it was booked. And then they had some upsells. So we were on the job and they wanted some extra bushes trimmed, a little bit of rocks over here and stuff like that, and that was like another $1,500. It was about $19,000. And we banged this job out, and my new rule was no longer could I take on a job unless there was at least a 50% profit margin. So think about that. That's a gross profit. Do the math of everything it's going to take you to run the business for that job. How much is it? The labor, the overhead, the cost of goods sold, everything. Truck payment, insurance, office, cell phones, gas, brake pads, every single thing you can possibly figure out within the best of your knowledge and ability, and times that by 2, and say, I cannot take on this job that's going to cost me $2,000 unless I charge $4,000. And then anything for us over $1,000 is a 33% deposit on the spot. So my new mindset was, when I pick up the phone and I'm qualifying a customer over the phone, I'm not even driving there unless I'm going to get a signature and a deposit check. And I'm dead serious. And qualifying the customer over the phone for this stuff. So when the customer can feel that you know your worth in your heart, my friend Coach Rob also taught me this, if you believe in your heart that you're worth it, and you communicate that, and you're brave, you will get it. And so now I had extra money and profit margins to start marketing and advertising the business. Door hangers, flyers, we were doing postcard mailers, Facebook ads, and the phones start ringing way more in the neighborhoods that I wanted to work in. So these clients in the rich areas that I was talking about, that's 45 minutes, hour and a half away from my house, instead of just cutting them off, I started drastically raising the prices on them as I started building my service area and my route density and increasing my average ticket price. The business started to work in my favor. Like, I went from making $500, $600, $700 a week, not even fully above board business, to some weeks we could bring home, I'd call my buddy Eric Reno, the roofing business. Dog, I made $3,800 this week, take home. He's like, yeah, dog. I'm like, how much did you make? But I don't even want to tell you, I can't even. But so here's what the difference was. I started getting around and going to events like this and sitting around with other entrepreneurs who are running, multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, and becoming friends with them, talking to them on the phone, not being so isolated, reaching out for help. And they would be like, I would tell them how much I'm charging and talk about my business and my man-hour rate. And they'd be like, what? What are you doing? Why would you even do that? Not in a judgmental way, but they literally could not believe for how smart I was, because I know you guys in the room are smart. But if you had a conversation with the future you, who had that upgraded identity, they would look at you and be like, what? You're totally worth this. So here is the thing of how I got leverage on myself. I'm talking about getting over this emotional hump so you can get yourself to believe in yourself, but then you can fall back into it. When you're doing all the math of what it costs to run you to run your business, figure out how much do I need to run a fully legitimate business and pay the employees well and give them Christmas bonuses and make enough money to go on vacation and do all the things that you want to do realistically and break down all that math. Okay, how much do I need to do per year next year in revenue? Now, if anxiety comes up, just relax and say, you know what, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun right now. Take out the calendar. You gotta probably do this at home, get a cup of coffee. I like the big sketch pad. And say, I'm just gonna have fun and see how much do I need to make. The anxiety comes up again. No, I'm not worth it, I'm not worth it. Just do it. All right, how much do we need to make per month? How much do we need to make per week? How much per day? How much per truck? How much per man hour? And start reverse engineering all the math and then say, what is the bare minimum I can afford to do a job, period? If anybody here, how many people are doing lawn care, like most of the business? Raise your hand. Yeah? And then a mix of landscaping and lawn care, raise your hand. Yeah, sweet. So you can start split testing this and do it logically and figure out all the math. So, like I said, if you raise all the prices on your current clients right away, they're gonna start dropping like flies. And you will be heartbroken because Mr. Jim and Mrs. Jones and you knew their dog's name and you thought these people actually cared about you. Some of them actually do. And I'm super thankful for all those, that rich client especially, for giving me a chance and believing me and teaching me all those hard lessons, and have respect and honor for those people. But you're gonna find out a lot of these people don't care about you at all. They'll drop you like nothing, and they won't even think about it to save a couple bucks. So if you raise the price, you'll find out who your clients really are. The thing that matters the most is your family and where you're gonna be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So when you're doing that math and figuring it all out, say, oh my God, 5, 10, 15 years is gonna go by whether I like it or not. What's the cost of inaction? What if you don't figure this out? You don't level up your business. In 3, 4 years from now, you're gonna be on the same client's property that you don't even know why you agreed to do it for such a low price in the first place, and you're gonna be mad and nobody's gonna care. And the story you keep telling yourself in your head about how I hate doing this, it's not fair, but I can, like, it's all stories. Nobody cares about the story, and nobody cares about how much you repeat the story in your head. It's just a story. I'm really obsessed with neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy and all that type of stuff, and I love Jesus, so I'm not, too much into that stuff, but I really am obsessed with like how, this is another thing Coach Rob taught me, man. All right, imagine there's like a wall right here and you can't get through it and you have anxiety because you want to level up, literally upgrade your identity. Rob taught me this because this dude helped me so much. Imagine if there's like just imagine there's a door. You could just imagine it. Now, just imagine you're like peeking your head through the door. Whoa, I can see what's on the other side. Now just imagine yourself on the other side of the wall. Oh, you're on the other side. So like, you're literally now on the other side, and you just literally like upgraded. Like it'll come to you an epiphany, and you'll actually feel completely worthy. And then you'll get sucked back out again. You'll fall back into the current shape that you were before. So what that means is, when you go back to that client's property, when you have these interactions, when you have toxic family members or people that kind of pull you down, you might even be toxic pulling people down and you don't even know it. You get pulled back into this old shape where this identity, these habits and these thoughts and patterns keep you, like it's like your consciousness is squeezed up in your head and you're like, you can't fully access just being here and now with your feet on the ground. You're trapped in this old identity, and that's where being brave and having courage and breaking through to the other side is. Now remember when I talked about the structure and not having to know your worth? Because it's dependent on an emotion. Check this out. If you are excited, you're worthy. If you're depressed, you're still worthy. If your business sucks right now and you're not making any profit, you're still worthy. You are totally worthy. It's a miracle that we're all here right now in this room. You've seen the videos on YouTube and how it's scientifically incalculable and it's impossible. They just keep coming back to like, wow, there must be a God or a higher divine intelligence, because it's impossible that we're all here right now in this moment. It is actually mathematically impossible. So that means that you must be completely worthy no matter what the story is going on in your head. So if that's true, what if I just started putting some structure and some systems into my business? And I just started figuring out my minimum amount, even if I didn't feel like it and I was scared and I still had these kind of low-paying, crappy clients. What if I just started like doing this stuff anyways? And I like the saying, borrow belief, fake it till you make it type stuff. Then what will happen is you will start getting some results like you never got before, like me selling these $10 and $15 and $20,000 landscape jobs. And then when you get that fat check and you watch your bank account go up, you know what I mean? All of a sudden you go, yeah, this is right. Like when I finally got like more money in the bank and I finally, the blue goose in these old trucks kept breaking down, I didn't feel worthy of getting a brand new truck, but I was so sick of the breakdowns. They were so expensive. I got the brand new truck because I was desperate and sick of breakdowns. And I wanted to hide the truck. I was afraid that it would make it look like, it was so weird. But then when I got the truck and I started to grow into it, it's just a truck, I was like, yeah, this is my truck. Like Paul Jameson just bought a brand new truck cash, bro. Like that's amazing. You see that post? We were talking about this last night. And his eyes were lighting up because now all of a sudden you realize that we make identity meaning out of external circumstance. All of a sudden you realize, like, wait a second, this has been my truck the whole time. This is me. This is the real me. I do have a 6-figure business. I do have a fully legitimate business with payroll taxes and workers' comp, and it's easy. Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Workweek, I subscribe to his email list, and he has this little book called The 17 Questions, and my favorite one is, what would this look like if it were easy? You'd stop complexifying it in your head and in your emotions. You'd be like, I got this. This is easy. And if there's something you don't know how to do, there's another book by Dan Sullivan called Who, Not How. I talk to a lot of landscapers and I do coaching, and I specialize in, I help emerging entrepreneurs start and grow their landscaping business from 0 to 100K with my inspirational talks and business building programs. So I've been coaching people since for 6-7 years on this, and the number one thing I keep hearing coming up is there will be a guy, we call him Chuck in a truck. He's doing everything, pulling his hair out. Number 2 is Possibility Pete, and number 3 is Abundant Anthony. There's different conversations going on in their head. And Chuck in the truck, and even Possibility Pete, who's got a couple employees, but he's not fully legit. He's like paying the guy cash or 1099, but he looks like he's got it going on, but his pricing is all messed up. He doesn't have any systems in his business, but he's doing good, but he's trapped on a glass ceiling. Abundant Anthony he's already over here, and he realizes all this. Like he's running an abundant little mean money-making machine, right? But the Chuck in the truck and Possibility Pete, stage 1 and stage 2 business, they're so stuck on saying, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make time to do my books? How am I going to make time to and you can literally drive yourself to kind of like clinical insanity, where you will like get a bunch of gray hairs on your head way too young. You will not be happy in your business. When I read the book Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan, I started saying, whoa. Who can help me do this? We needed a bookkeeper in the business bad because my QuickBooks was horrific. My accountant was like, dude, I got to charge you like an extra $2,600 just to deal with all this. And I was like, okay, I'll just pay you. And then my own accountant, the professional accounting firm, stayed up like all day Sunday messing with my taxes. So we got a bookkeeper. Then in my media business, now we have 17 virtual assistants, and I have an executive assistant and then a consultant. We do weekly pulse meetings and all these things, and so much is getting done. Like we're putting out 8 to 12 pieces of content per day in the media business and doing all these miraculous things that I felt, they're not even a miracle, but that I could never do before. I could never do because I stopped asking the wrong question, which is how am I going to do this? And say, who can do this? And if you have any yeah buts in your head, like, yeah, but you don't understand what I'm going through, go find someone else. Go find the who has figured out how to do what you want to do, and get over the head trash and the story in your head, and go sit down with them, buy them a cup of coffee, pay them a couple $100 for a Zoom call, and have them walk you through how they got through that sticky spot. Because it could be one sticky spot or one story in your head and in your business that's stopping you from leveling up your whole business. Another thing Coach Rob taught me. Imagine if you're holding a beach ball underneath the water, and you're fighting this thing, right? And you finally get exhausted and you just let go. What does the beach ball do? It pops up to the top and it starts buoyantly just floating on top of the water. Why? Because that's its natural state. Another thing that I'm learning is imagine you're swimming and you're holding onto an anchor and it's tied to like your ankle and it's pulling you down and you're swimming. This might be a story. It's usually a story. But you don't understand my business, right? You're trapped in this caged type of life, Brendan Burchard calls it. You're not in that whole abundant thing yet. What if really, if you can get down to the bottom of that story and just cut that anchor, boom, you just pop right up to the top. You're like this close. And I think the number one thing you do right now is you just make that decision. At this event today, when you leave, you're changed. You know your worth. It's done. Make the decision. Whether you do it silently to yourself or you go look in the mirror in the bathroom. I like to look in my own eyes and then, bro, you got this. It's like that, like you're fathering yourself. Make the decision today that you'll do whatever it takes, but you'll be whatever it takes, and you'll go find the who's. Because I'm telling you, the time is going to go by. And if you wake up in the same spot, I'm not saying there are people here who are just crushing it. You guys wouldn't even be here if you weren't crushing it and totally committed. Like, I get it. But leveling up your business is really easy. It's just finding the who's that know how to do it. Stop putting all the pressure on yourself. Yeah, dog. Anyways, I created a free workbook. It's totally free. You guys can have it. It's all the stuff that I talked about today. It's a special gift for saying thank you to all you guys and to Brian and Liz and the team for having me here. And I hope you guys have a great event. If you go to keithkalfas.com/LAL, you can have an entirely free workbook. It's my Level Up Your Landscaping Business workbook, where I actually describe in like total detail everything I talked today. I want you to go download it and go find the right people that help you level up your landscape business, even at this event today. You got this. Let's do this. I love you guys, man. I love this community.
All right. Keep up.
Come here. I feel good. I feel amped up. I really feel like I put my heart out there, and my whole goal is just to, if I can inspire anybody to compress time and take their landscape business to the next level or their life to the next level, because, and I'm nobody, I just want to be a servant and a conduit. I'm just me, bro. I just love I love this community.